What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be breaking down Slark and why he has a 49.51% win rate. Hopefully you guys do enjoy the video. If you guys do, consider subscribing and dropping down a comment and letting me know what you guys think about Slark this patch. Slark has been a hero that honestly didn't go very contested at TI. It was a hero that pretty much got picked very little, but it's a hero that I've been seeing all over my pubs, and he feels kind of unstoppable right now because most of the lineups I've been seeing, typically Slark does very well against. There's a lot of things for him to dispel, and there's just a lot of beefy cores that he's able to just sit on top of and building essence shift stacks. And once Slark builds enough of these, it can become almost impossible to take down this hero. Now sure, you can break and you can silence and you can do a lot of things, but that's what Dark Pact is for. You're ready to pretty much dispel everything, and that's where Slark really gets his niche. A lot of the good heroes this patch, heroes like Carry Dragonite, Lina, you're really good up against. Once you get on top of these heroes, you can start beating into them, and there's so many ways for you to reset that it makes it very difficult for these heroes to catch up to you. Lina's a natural Gleipnir buyer, so you can easily purge that off. Dragonite stun, you can purge that off as well. You can pretty much purge anything right now, and it feels really good to be playing Slark. Even though his win rate is slightly below 50%, I think it's because Slark is a hero that needs to be pushed to its absolute limits to really outperform most heroes, and that's where the secret comes in with Slark. You have to learn how to play Slark. You got to be a Slark player and learn how to actually pressure with him, because there's situations where non-Slark players will back off and not go in, and there's a lot of situations where they can get a ton of kills just if they know how to push the hero to its limits. So I do recommend learning how to play Slark first. He's not the easiest carry hero to play because Slark is not the type of hero that likes to all-in commit. He likes to go in, get a bunch of stacks, back off. If he's getting pressured super hard, you have access to Shadow Dance, so you're able to easily disengage, and if not, you have Depth Shroud as well to disengage. There's a lot of things you can do. Also, if you build your Aghanim Scepter, it's going to be very beneficial for you because having two leaps is really good because you can use one to go in and one to get out. And with the fast set fetching leech, Pounce applies essence shift stacks 4 at max level. So once you have max essence shift, you're going to be able to get 4 just from leashing, and that's pretty important because you have 2 of those. That's already 8 stacks right off the bat if you plan on using both really quickly, and if you're trying to be quite aggressive. That is super important. And in the laning phase, this is also very important. If you're able to actually land your right clicks, you're going to be building up these stacks super fast, and a lot of heroes are not going to be able to contest you. They're not going to be able to fight you because you have so many stacks that you otherwise would not have. So it's actually pretty good if you get at least a couple of points in essence shift if you are having a really good laning phase. But you can also max Dark Pact, which is pretty important for your farming because Slark without Dark Pact doesn't really farm as well. So you could just take a couple of points or just leave it at the 1 point is more than enough. But if you're having a really solid lane, you can easily beat into one of these melee offlaners, then it would be recommended for you guys to take an extra point. Other than that, you max Dark Pact and you have 1 point in Pounce. That's going to keep you alive. It's going to help you disengage quite well. Let's talk about the build that's happening right now on Slark. So typically you want to build yourself a wand, you want to build a wraith band, you want to get yourself treads, and then it pretty much depends on the gameplay. Let's say you're facing up against a Medusa, you're going to want a Diffusal. You're facing up against a lot of magic damage, then you might want to pick up a Mage Slayer. You're facing up against heroes like Puck, then you might want to pick up an Orchid. There's a lot of different item routes you can take on Slark, which is one of my favorite things about this hero, is that he's super versatile. There's no cookie cutter build on Slark. You can pretty much build whatever your heart desires. You can build Disperser and play him the classic way with a Diffusal, and then eventually get the Disperser. You can build a Manta on Slark if you really wanted to, Scotty, Basher. You can pretty much build anything you want, so it really depends on the game. If you need a break, you get a Silver Edge. If you need a BKB, then you definitely pick that up. But if you can work without a BKB, it'd be a lot better for you. You can build a lot more damage, and you're going to be doing much more in the fight. But if you build survivable, you're going to be a little bit better off because Slark wants to go in, get a ton of stacks, maybe disengage and go back in because he has so much regen. If he's not under vision, he's going to be able to heal back up to full, and it can sometimes feel impossible to kill this hero once he's up to full again. So you really need to address a good Slark player, and a snowballing Slark is a really huge problem because permanent agility is always going to be amazing on a hero like Slark, but also the hero can just play super aggressive early on, and it's something not a lot of carry heroes can actually do, and this meta favors heroes like this. This meta, in my opinion, you need a carry that can go late game but can also fight early, and Slark provides both of these. If you have a really good laning phase, you can easily rotate around the map, join up with your team and get a bunch of kills. If you have a rough laning phase, then you can recover easily in the jungle with max Dark Pact, and you're going to be able to do a really good job there. Slark farms pretty decently. I wouldn't say he's the fastest farmer, but he's definitely not slow. He's no slouch. You can get a ton of value from getting a bunch of stacks, and you can always ask your team to stack. And since since you pretty much have infinite regen, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to ferry out any salves or any extra tangos. You have all that regen to your favor, and since you have the wand, you're going to have that extra mana regen, and if need be, maybe you bring yourself an extra clarity. Now let's talk about some of the best and worst matchups for the Slark. Some of the best matchups are Medusa, Windranger, Dragonite, Abaddon, Troll, Warlord. This is especially important because Windranger and Dragonite are extremely prevalent in this meta, and Slark does very well against Windranger. You can leash her, and once you get yourself a Monkey King bar, there's not a whole lot that hero can do to you, and you have so many reset tools that she's not able to keep up. You're able to dispel her Gleipnir, you're able to get away from Focus Fire, and it's not really a big issue for the Slark. Obviously, if she's out farming you by a lot, you will struggle. There will be issues, but getting the Monkey King bar early on won't really hinder you too much. You naturally like to build Monkey King bar, gives you that extra attack speed, and piercing that evasion is going to be your key to winning that matchup. Against the Dragonite, honestly, you could even build an Echo Saber and just start building stacks off of him. He's not going to be able to trade right clicks with you, even if he's super farmed. I was playing a game the other day where I was even more farmed than the Slark, but there was just no way you can man up to that hero if he's able to get on top of you. Now, obviously, if the Slark can't really do anything to you, he can't bridge the gap, then yeah, you will be taking care of the Slark. But more often than not, the Slark's going to be able to pounce onto you, and if he has an Aghanim Scepter, he'll do it twice, and you won't be able to get out. It's going to be very difficult for you to do anything in this matchup, and you are very tanky, so he's going to just keep building stacks over and over, resetting, go back to full HP, and then get back onto you, and that's something you can't do as a Dragonite because you're not super mobile like a Slark is. And some of the bad matchups are Naga Siren, Leshrac, Earthshaker, Mars. These matchups are a little bit more difficult just because there is a lot of magic damage, and illusion heroes do quite well against Slark just because of the nature of Slark. He's very single target focused. Dark Pact is pretty decent against illusions, but it's not the end all be all, so you might have to build maybe a Gleipnir, maybe a Mjolnir. You might have to build one of these items to kind of sway these matchups, but Naga's mostly being played as a support nowadays, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. Leshrac is more of a specialist pick, so I don't see it a whole lot. Shaker is pretty popular, and so is Mars. These heroes are pretty popular, but you can definitely go toe-to-toe against these heroes. It's nothing that you can't overcome. These heroes you can easily take care of if built correctly and played correctly. You can always get ahead on the Slark. Just make sure you have a good laning phase. It's super important, and that you're building up these stacks. Learn how to use this hero to its maximum potential. Learn when it's time to back up, and learn when it's time to go in. That is extremely important on Slark because that can be the difference of you getting a ton of kills and snowballing out of the laning phase, or the difference of you going 0-2 or 0-3 in the laning phase. That is super important. You need to push this hero to its limits, but you got to know when it's time for that reset, get some more HP, and then go back into the team fight and have really good target priority, because that is also super key on pretty much any hero, but on Slark it makes a lot of sense that you have really good target priority because you're going to be building stacks off this target. So if you can jump the back line and take care of supports very easily, you can easily do that, and then that's going to be very beneficial for your team. But you can also go into the tanky heroes and just start building up stacks, and then you change your target priority to another hero. Once you have all these stacks, that hero is going to melt a lot faster. It's going to be much easier for you to deal with the team fights, but it does take a little bit of a learning curve on how to maximize efficiency with Slark and how to play the team fights optimally on this hero. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about Slark. I would definitely like to hear your opinions in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.